welcome back. Yesterday I did a video where I talked about all the NHL jerseys that I owned, and I thought, this time around, why don't I rank them and talk about them? And so here we are. So, to start off, my least favorite jersey is the Detroit Reverse Retro 1.0. And I think the main reason why it's not my favorite is because, well, first it's blank, so it's all white. There's not a whole lot going on, and I think they kind of missed the ball with this just a little bit. I think they should have done silver in the striping here, like the actual sparkly silver, like that LA uses. And I think they should have trimmed the Detroit logo in silver as well. I think they could have just done that. I think it would have looked really good. And it's still a nice jersey, but it's a jersey I don't wear a whole lot because it's all white. So, and I do like white jerseys, but this one's just a whole lot of white, and there's not a whole lot of color to break it up. The only red on it is in the collar, on the logo, and the little Adidas logo on the back. If you get a name and number, then it adds a little bit of red, but there's my least favorite jersey. My second least favorite jersey, number 14 on the list, is the Caps away. Now, I don't like to rank this one low, usually, and I've debated, but the problem is that despite the fact that it's personalized, despite the fact that it holds a lot of deep memories, because it was when I got into hockey, and of course the Champions patch on there and everything, my main problem is that I've never really liked this look. I think the home version is fine. The away version, just to me, doesn't look terribly hot. I like the how the numbers look, and I enjoy some elements of this jersey. I think this is a great shoulder patch, but I just think that this weird stripe down the middle, because this was just a carryover from the Reebok days, except they changed the neckline. They kept the piping on it, which I think is hilarious. Now, on the Reeboks, this blue stripe went downward because it was piping. Well, it went down the sleeve, but it was piping. It was up high, and they just kept that. So, good for them. I definitely think that there was a lot that they could have done in terms of a new look or a new design. Number 13 on the list is the Vancouver alternate. And again, I like all my jerseys that I own, but to me, like the plainness of it, and again, no name and number, so it just looks even more plain. I got this at a time where I was looking for deals and cheap prices, so getting a Fanatics, getting it blank was how you got it on the cheap. Despite the fact that if I could redo it, honestly, I would have waited. Because I ordered this when the skate jersey wasn't on sale yet. I wanted a Vancouver jersey, and I bit way too soon. I should have waited for the skate jersey to go on sale and just gotten that. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. I own a skate jersey now, and this is a nice jersey. I like this jersey a lot. The modernized stick and rink is very cool. I think they did a good job designing this. It's just, compared to my other jerseys, not necessarily my favorite. Next on this list, at number 12, is Montreal. Now, the reason it's ranked so low is not because it's an ugly jersey. It's not that I don't like the player on the back. It's a team I don't cheer for. Yeah, Montreal, I'm not a fan of. I got this because it was like $90. And $90 for a Carey Price jersey? Can't shake your finger at that. And of course, I got this the year they went all the way to the final. I thought about getting a patch, the finals patch that they had that was in French. But, haven't really bid on that. I still might, but I'm not good at stitching or anything like that or putting it on there. So, I don't know how well that will go. But, it's a nice jersey. I like it a whole lot. I like the design, the colorization, the color separation. Of course, Montreal, it's always going to be a classic look, but it's a team I don't cheer for, so I have to knock it at least a little bit. I haven't worn this in so long. By the way, it's ridiculous. Next up, the Flying V. Now, I should mention that yesterday, in my ramblings on the jerseys, I said that this was one of my favorites. I love this jersey. The Flying V is great. It's ugly. It's beautiful in a lot of ways. It's just horrendous. It's an eyesore to look at. And of course, it's a Tiger Williams. I didn't mention that yesterday. Wish I did. But, I mean, you got the skate logo, which would be the main logo, on the elbow, really. And the V's, because you always had to have V's. And, of course, the big V on the front. It's just, it looks like a graduation gown. And, really, the home version looks worse than this. But I love this jersey. I wear this jersey a lot. Now, when I do wear Vancouver. But I mean, it's just, you can't. I mean, I've seen some people say the Canucks should go back to this. I don't. I've even seen some people say that they should do this in their current color scheme. No. I think they can bring this back for like warm-ups and stuff, but I definitely think that this jersey should stay where it belongs. Now, on the bright side, when the Canucks wore this, they made the playoffs all those years that they wore it. So, I mean, if you want to talk about success rate, they have the most success wearing this. So, and that's just of making the playoffs. Next on this list, the Caps red alternate. Yep. Now, what bogs this jersey down a little bit is I'm more of a 90s fan. This embarks back to the 80s. I say 80s because I always say 70s, but the 70s logo on the front was different than it was in the 80s. This is more of the 80s look. And so, I like it. I like the white shoulders. I like the stars on the bottom of it. I like the colors. It's bright. I think if the Caps went back to this, it'd be all right. Excuse me, by the way. But I don't know. It's just they really didn't have too much success when they wore this, because this is from the 2018-19 season. And when they did wear this, they really didn't win a whole lot. And on the same side, despite the fact how beautiful it is, all the stars is a little bizarre. I think this definitely works as an alternate. I don't know if it would necessarily work because they're home or away again. But I mean, hey, it's a nice jersey. It's been worn by countless players. It looks good. It's just not really my favorite. Next up, another alternate, and it's another Washington. And this one I think I like a little bit better. Hear me out. It has the same thing with the shoulders. I like the stitch work on here a lot. I love this logo. I think the problem is with the Caps is the Caps only had a logo like 3 times. It was this, the Capitol Building jersey they wore in the early 2000s when Ovechkin first got there, which, by the way, Ovechkin, and the Screaming Eagle. They've almost pretty much had a word mark throughout their history. To me, I like this. I don't know if this would work in red. I would like to see it tried. Because in my opinion, I think that this in red could absolutely work. If the stars were blue, the body was red, the striping right here was red, and the rest of it was white. Pretty much just flipping the blue and the red and leaving the white parts white. I definitely think it could work. And then you do a white version where the shoulders are red with the blue trim. And you do an alternate that's the Screaming Eagle in its original colors. I definitely think it could work. Similar to what the Coyotes used to do with like the Kachina Saturdays. I definitely think that the Caps could do like a Screaming Eagle Saturday type thing where they wear the Screaming Eagle and it's all 90s. They put the Screaming Eagle in center ice. They play 90s music, digital scoreboard, because they actually did have it. They had a scoreboard. The scoreboard was digital. If you've been to a Caps game when they wore their reverse retro, scoreboard was digital. But I mean, this is a nice jersey. Very nice, very subtle. Like it a whole lot. Next up, it's the skate, and it's my favorite Canucks jersey. Yes, I know. The flying V is beautifully ugly. I know that. This is my favorite Canucks jersey ever. I love the colors. I love the look. It's 90s, so of course I'm going to love it. And to me, 90s jerseys always sort of had that extra bit of touch that to me just made it beautiful. St. Louis's 90s jersey was great. Of course, Detroit, Chicago, Boston, they had some good-looking, classic-looking jerseys. Washington, Arizona. And even before that, Winnipeg's 90s jersey is fantastic. And again, this is no exception. This was just absolutely gorgeous. And of course, they wore this in 94. I thought about getting a 94 patch for this because, I mean, it is a Linden. And it is the colors of the jersey because there's two versions of this. The first version is like their skate. It's orange, black, and marigold. This is yellow, red, and black, so it pops more. I like this look. There's a possibility the Canucks go back to this look. Don't quote me, but I mean, it's pretty much leaning that way with their new alternate, and they wore their alternate quite a bit, and I think that they'll probably judge it by ear, see how things go, and they might go back to this. But Canuck management, don't go back to this look full time when you're in the middle of a rebuild. They did that in the late 90s with the Orca, the first Orca, and it just tainted that look. That is a nice jersey. I don't have it, but that is a nice jersey. So, there's that. Next up on this list, the black Kachina. And let me explain. So, to me, I understand. A lot of people are probably going to say, I prefer the black. I personally don't. Now, there are a few reasons on this. Number one, this logo, you can see that there's quite a bit of a mistake. All these trim right here is purple, except for right here it's black. And there's no cutout. The logo is really flat. Now, they did that in CCM, so you're not really on that. Of course, this is a blank, so it doesn't really show the next bit, which is on TV, you cannot tell with this because the numbers are trimmed in this dark brick red and this sand color in the middle. So it just and especially with the black pants and the dark gloves, the black helmets, like when you see it close, it looks great. It looks fantastic. And in person, this jersey is quite beautiful. But every time I see it, I just can't get the vision out of my head of looking on TV and going, I can't see what they're wearing. Like, it just all blends. And it doesn't help that it's black with this dark forest green color, brick red, it's specifically called brick red, and sand. That's the sand color to mimic the desert. There's very little white, if any, and it just sort of all meshes together. I like this jersey in person, and after I've gotten the white one, though, I've just kind of, it kind of shined this one as to not be as fantastic as it used to be. Still a nice look, though. I like the Kachina. Next up, the first of the 3 Screaming Eagles that I own, and it's the blue one. And I'm not a huge fan of the blue one. I like the build. I like the quality. It's fantastic. I like the embroidered patch. I like CCM jerseys. I like that neckline. It's fantastic. The logo is not as great as it could be because they're better on the Adidas, but it's still a fantastic logo. The vinyl here is, it's there. Be very careful with this. if you own a Screaming Eagle, specifically the original. When I was at work years ago, I saw a guy wearing this, and the vinyl was completely gone, and the patch was coming completely off. So, I was lucky to find this in good shape, and for cheap. I paid $90 for this. So, it was in excellent quality. It was cheap. But, if you find this, or if you own one, be very, very, very careful with it. CCMs are getting harder and harder to replace. Now, luckily, the Caps have brought it in Adidas form, but, I'd like to see them go back to this. Not necessarily the blue. Now, when I first got this, I loved the blue, and when I compared it to the first reverse retro, I thought, well, it's different. But then I got the other reverse retro, and yeah, it blows this one out of the water, in my opinion. I also don't like the fact that the shoulder patch is trimmed in bronze. That does not make it look good, in my opinion. Still a nice jersey, though. Next up, we're nearing the final stretch, and the first Caps reverse retro. I like it a lot. I loved it. I fell in love with it day one. I like the lettering. I like the colors. I like the trim. I like the way it looks. It's fantastic in a lot of ways. I like how they altered the logo. It is a rare case of actually being a reverse retro, because it's their old look, which a few teams did during that first run, but they flipped the colors to be their current, which I think was a smart move that first year. And really fantastic jersey, really fantastic logo. This is a sparkly material, so I don't necessarily know about that. I haven't Scotch guarded. Nothing has popped up yet. But if you do own this, I'd probably recommend doing that. Next up, the second reverse retro, the Detroit one. And it's just fantastic. I love this reverse retro a lot. I personally think it's one of the nicer of the two. It's in the top. If I had to rank all the reverse retros, it's pretty high for me. It was in the middle of the pack until I actually saw it in person, and just, oh my goodness, it's fantastic. I've been saying for a while that I would love to see a Detroit jersey with some black in it, and they delivered, and it's fantastic. Looks like a prison shirt. But it's nice. It's really nice. I like that a whole lot. Final three. And, yep, the Sand Coyote, the Desert Landscape jersey, the Halloween jersey. It's a nice jersey. I like the patch, the colorization, the desert landscape at the bottom. It's a nice jersey. I definitely think this one's better than the purple one, at least in my opinion. I think they did a really good job. And quite frankly, that is a nice look. Really nice look. I wouldn't mind this being an alternate, just really dipping into the 90s. Number 2, because we've reached the top 2, and it's the last reverse retro on my list. It's the Caps. Yep. It just screams 90s. It's got sparkles on it, which is fantastic. It's got sparkly trim. It's just beautiful. The striping is fantastic. The jersey, the patching is amazing. I could gush about this jersey. Still has that same gold or bronzy stitching that the first one had, except now it's in the stars and in the logo and stuff. It's all over the place, and it's fantastic. And if you were paying attention to yesterday's video, number 1, it should be no surprise, it's the white Kachina. The current white Kachina. Now, I say the current because I like the fact that they kept the dark colors. I like the fact they kept this brick red. They kept the purple in there. They kept the brick red inside the lettering there. I like that. I think it's fantastic. I like the color separation on it. I think it's fantastic. On TV, it looks really nice. I like the stitching and everything. It's just a fantastic jersey. I adore the white Kachina. The white Kachina has always been my favorite. And if I could have found a CCM one in really good condition for cheap, I would have. But I couldn't. The only ones I could find were really starters that were like destroyed half to hell, and they could be fakes. Now, there are a few jerseys that would be nice to have, but you know, I'm all jerseyed out. I don't have the space, nor do I have the ability to just get all of the jerseys that I could possibly want. But that's my collection, and that's my ranking. So let me know in the comments. I'm sure you will disagree with some of them. You'll be typing in comments if you comment and go, I thought Montreal's is better, and how dare you put the Kachina over Montreal? And let me know what you think down below, and like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. I will see you next time.